A squat hold is an isometric hold on our lower body. We really want to get this right, so we really activate in around our quad muscles and our groin area. So from the starting position, feet are outside the hips. From here you're going to sit down, keep your knees pushed out. When we get down to parallel, so our hips are in line with our knees, we pull our elbows just inside the knee and we use our hands to lever them out and really create some tension around our hip and groin area as well as our quads. So from the side, feet outside the hips, we're going to sit down and back, and then we're going to lever the knees out to create that tension along the groin. And that's Handplank is an isometric core exercise and upper body exercise. So we're going to hold tension on our chest, our arms and our core throughout this movement. So hands, starting position, our hands in under our shoulders so the joints are stacked. So shoulder over elbow over wrist. This allows the weight to distribute down through the heel of the hand perfect. From here, you're going to come up with your hips and feet and hold this position for as long as specified. That's a hand plank. So from the side, hands in under the shoulders, feet back, hips down. If you struggle with the hips in this, sinking to the ground, just squeeze your glutes and squeeze your quads, and this will help hold in place on the hand plank when you're struggling. And that's Spiderman to Windmill is a great dynamic warm-up exercise. We use that to get some leg and upper body warm-up done to get the blood flowing in the total body. Starting position, push-up position. Foot comes up outside your hand. You're going to sink your hips towards the ground, so sink them down. The same hand as the foot rotates up towards the roof when you follow with your eyes. After that, bring the foot back, alternate onto the opposite side, sink the hips. Same hand again, rotate the spine and repeat. And that's your spine. Yoga push-ups is going to incorporate some upper and lower body work. It's a nice dynamic movement. So we're starting off in our push-up position. So hands in under the shoulders, feet together. From here, you're going to fold over into a push-up, down to the ground, back up, and push back the heels and hips towards the roof. From the side, hands together, feet together, fold over, push up, and then back, up and squeeze along the back of the legs, and then back down into push-up. If you struggle with the push-up, pop your knees, fold over, do your push-up dead, pop into downward dog. Our reverse inchworm is a great dynamic movement to get some blood flowing in the upper body, and you'll wake up the back of the legs as well. So we're starting off in our standing position, hands come down towards the ground, and we're going to start walking out, walk out, right into push-up position, and then you're going to walk back, keeping the hands under the shoulders the whole way until we stand back up, and then you're going to walk back out again. So up and down, and that's your reverse. Pushups are a nice lower body plyometric exercise, so they're explosive in their nature, and we want to work nice and quick through these and really get that spring in our lower body. So feet start together. From here you're going to jump out and sit down, then spring up off the toe, back in and out. So from the side, starting with feet together, jump out, sit down, spring back up and down, and that's your squat drop. Work nice and quick to really get the hard and palm press is an isometric hold to create tension on our chest and our biceps. So the starting position is hands are out in front, in line with your sternum. You're going to push your hands together as hard as possible for the time specified, and this is going to create a lot of tension on your chest muscles and your biceps. From the side, the distance you want out is about here, so a little angle on the arms, in line with your sternum, and you're going to push, and this will really create tension, and you'll feel that burn. So that's it. Like calf raises are a great way to isolate each calf individually and add some extra weight onto the muscle. So what we do is we just take one leg at a time and alternate between them, so putting more weight on one side at a time and slightly lifting the other off the ground. Our starting position will be up on one, then back onto the other, back onto the other, back onto the other. So it enables us to get a really good squeeze on each calf individually and get the most we can out of the calf raises. Shoulder taps is an upper body movement. We're going to incorporate our core a small bit in as well. Our starting position is in push-up position. Our hands are right under our shoulders and our feet are back. From here, you're going to really squeeze your hips so you hold your core and hip flexors in place. And what you're going to do then is, with as little hip movement as possible, is tap each shoulder nice and controlled. So alternate between taps and try to keep the hips as tight as possible. A little tip for these is to split the feet a small bit, and that will help to keep your hips nice and solid. So from here, squeeze up everything, nice controlled, shoulder tap, keep the hips nice and down and solid, and it's a great way to work alternating arms and core. That's your shoulder tap. An RDL hold, Romanian deadlift, is a hold where we're going to create tension on the hamstrings and hold in position to get the blood flowing in the area. So our starting position is going to be feet shoulder width apart. We're going to unlock our knees here and we're going to hinge our hips back, back and back until we feel our hamstrings engage. We're going to hold this position then for as long as time specified and then stand back up. From the side, shoulder width feet apart, unlock our knees, hips go back, 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 and our knees stay where they are. We're going to keep our feet planted down and hold this position for as long as specified. You should really feel it on your hamstrings. If you're not, just try and push back further with the hips. If your knees start to drift forward, we're starting to load our quad muscles and it becomes more of a squat type movement. So to really engage the hamstrings, we keep our knee directly over our ankle and really hinge the hips back in the movement. And that's your RDL hold. Mountain climbers are a great dynamic exercise for our core and our hip flexors. So our starting position is going to be down on the ground, hands are in underneath our shoulders so we have a nice solid position to move from. From here, you're going to bring a knee to your same elbow on both sides, so bring it up and back, and that's a slow mountain climber. You can also work nice and fast to get the heart and lungs working. So hands in under the shoulders, knee to same elbow, moving from the hip flexor, or you can go fast on these and really work so you get your heart and lungs incorporated into both the core and hip flexor exercise. That's a mountain. Oblique climbers are a dynamic core exercise. We're going to really work the obliques across our core area throughout the movement. So we're going to start off in our hand plank position, so hands are right under the shoulders. From here, like a mountain climber, except you want to bring your knee across to your opposite elbow to really pull across on the core. So you can work these slow or fast, depending on the exercise type. If you want more of a resistance and to really feel it, you go slow, keep a nice slow tempo. If you want to get the heart and lungs working, really feel that burn, you can go nice and fast in oblique climbers. So from the side, push up position, knee across towards your opposite elbow. There's no right or wrong, get as close as you can, and then you can work really fast depending on the exercise goal. And that's an oblique. It's a dynamic core and upper body exercise. So we're going to start off with an elbow plank. So your elbows in under your shoulder, down on the ground. From here, you're going to bring one hand back, replace your elbow, push up with your tricep, and then you're going to come back down. Keep your hips as controlled as possible throughout the movement. So from the side, elbows in under the shoulders, hips down. From here, replace your elbow with your arm, back up, then come back down, keeping everything nice and controlled, and work 2 reps as specified. That's a plank up. Hand plank is an isometric core exercise and upper body exercise. So we're going to hold tension on our chest, our arms and our core throughout this movement. So hands, starting position, our hands in under our shoulders so the joints are stacked. So shoulder over elbow over wrist. This allows the weight to distribute down through the heel of the hand perfect. From here, you're going to come up with your hips and feet and hold this position for as long as specified. That's a hand plank. So from the side, hands in under the shoulders, feet back, hips down. If you struggle with the hips in this, sinking to the ground, just squeeze your glutes and squeeze your quads, and this will help hold in place on the hand plank when you're struggling.